All right. Okay, so today, see that? How to track and apply your personal data. So personal sales data, I guess I should, oh, he does say personal sales data. We're not tracking and applying your personal data, just your personal sales data. Okay, so the importance of this. I always like to tell you the importance so that you know why you have to do something. I don't know about you, but I like to know why before I spend my time doing something. So that's what we're going to talk about real quick. So tracking is important because if you, this came up, I went and met with a broker that I'm training, and her sales have steadily increased, but she's not exploded. And she's wondering why, she's doing a great job. She has great reviews. So why is it that she isn't making as much progress as some of the other realtors around her? And like I said, she's making progress, but she's been in the business the same number of years that I have, and she's about half the volume. So she's like, what, like, why? So we're going over her stuff. Luckily, I love her. So she's competition, but I love her that much that she can get coached. Anyway, so we're going over her information. She doesn't know where her sales came from. She didn't have them tracked. She didn't have the follow-up as well, but she also didn't have her sales tracked. Okay. So, and I myself, I didn't realize the importance of tracking where your sales are from, or customers in general, not just your closings, but customers in general. I didn't recognize that importance until about 3 years into the business. So I wish someone would have told me at the beginning that I needed to track this and why it was important. So first, we will talk about the tracking portion. Okay, in order to track this, you have got to make it a habit. Okay, this has got to be second nature to you, that you are finding out where your business is from. And if you don't, it's going to be hit and miss, and you're never going to have the full picture. So I will give you a way to do it. This is the way that I do it. It's worked phenomenally since I've started doing it. If you want to do it a different way, do it a different way. There's not one way, as my mother says, to skin a cat, right? There's more than one way. So if there's a better way for you, do it. Just do it. That's the biggest thing, is just getting it done, okay? So when I ask a client, when I have that initial conversation, so that's when we're going to ask you guys, is the initial conversation. I get closer, I'm so far away today. Okay, during the initial conversation with the client, so you get a phone call, or you meet them in a store, whatever it is. If someone says, someone told them to call you, you're going to ask who it was that asked them to call you. You want to know who it's from. Or if you get called, about a home, how did they find you? And that's really the way that I say it. I'll just be like, oh, did someone refer you to me? Or, did you find me online? I'll kind of prompt them that way, instead of just saying, well, how did you find me? You can say that too. Just make it normal and natural in the conversation. I will tell you, in the conversation, you don't say it at the beginning. They don't call you and you start talking to them and you say, oh, how did you find me? Right? That's kind of cold. And like we talked about Wednesday, you have to build some relationship first with them on the phone before then you start asking them the questions like that, the information that you want or need. So initial conversation, get to know the person, ask them everything about what they want, what they are going to do, right? And then before you end the conversation, you want to ask them, so how was it that you found me? Because at that point, they're happy that they found you because they feel comfortable with you. Does that make sense? So that it's a really natural way to ask at that point where they came from. And they can be like, oh, I just Googled you, I found you on Zillow, or oh, I just found your website, or I liked your bio. I mean, they'll tell you exactly where they came from, okay? So here's the most important part here. You got to write that sucker down right that second, because you will not remember. Come on, like, we're all getting older. I don't know about you, but I can't remember like of anything if I don't write it down. So write it down immediately. Immediately write it down. So this brings me to a point, and y'all have this, or you should, okay? So buyers, sellers, oh my God, all sorts of junk in here today. Okay, messy. Here's my messiness. But I have a lead source line in the planner. That is why I have a lead source line in the planner. So phone call comes in, I ask them their name, I ask them their email address, their phone number, right? All that information when I get to that. All the questions about what it is that they're looking for, or if they have something to sell. I had somebody call in yesterday, had something to sell. So I'm taking all my notes about what they have to sell, a little bit about their situation, their family, where they want to go, right? All that personal information, taking notes on all of it. And then when you get to it, that's why there's a prompt there to write down the lead source, because you have got to have it. And I will tell you, it's pretty dang easy. I sit here and go, okay, buyer, referral, 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 called out a listing, word of mouth, like where did it come from? I can sit there and assess every piece of my business like that, which saves time, right? We're trying to save time. So instead of having to go back and think, oh, what did they say? I can't remember, right? Write it down right away. Okay? Okay, my cards. Okay, but that's why that's there. And you guys like all my messages yesterday on the Facebook group. I think we'll end up with buyer and seller book. All right. All right. I was trying to make something fun, but I get it. But we had a really good laugh. We figured it was better than S and B book or SB. We thought it was better than that. So we had a good kick about that yesterday too. I think we were feisty yesterday. We'll just tell you that. Anyway, so if you don't like, well, the reason I'm doing that is because if you don't like the way that my daily planner pages are set up, at least then you can buy a buyer seller notebook and you can be able to use that for those same reasons. You can be able to track all your buyers, your listings, and all that information. Okay. So, and it won't expire because it's not dated. So that's, anyway, that's an option for you. Okay. So you've asked, like, simple. You guys, I know, Coley. Super simple. Ask at the beginning, write it down. Okay. Don't wait till later. Don't wait till closing. You won't remember. You will not remember. I'm telling you right now. Make it a habit. Okay. All right. Now you have to analyze it. So quarterly, you want to go through and check out where is your business coming from. Okay. Make it quarterly. Worst case scenario, you do this every 6 months. You got a 6-month planner. You go through and check through all your listings and buyers that you had for that 6 months and find out where your business was coming from. You will find patterns. You will find patterns. I had an agent, one of my personal agents, and she had been paying for Zillow for a while, and then Zillow had changed the way they were doing things, and she started not liking it, and we started kind of hating Zillow. And so we were all canceling the advertising that we were doing. And she was going into panic mode because she was worried that all of her business was coming from Zillow. Okay. She had not tracked her business. She had no idea where her business was coming from. So she sat down. I encouraged her to sit down, look up all your past sales and find out where they actually came from, which that's the hard part. If you have to go back and be like, oh my gosh, where did this person come from? I think they were from this place, right? It's a whole lot harder to remember and be accurate. So she sat down, she went through it. Out of her 30 plus transactions that she had that year, 4 that came from Zillow. So she really wasn't, for the amount of money she was spending, yes, she was getting a return on her investment, but was it the bulk of her business? No. And if she was going to increase her business, that's really not the place that she's going to be increasing it. You have no control over it, right? So you've got to know, and you need to analyze it, okay? So once we analyze it, we've got to apply it. So we're going to talk about the application. An application of the analyzation of the information. It's a lot of words. The application of it is in three steps. Really simple, okay? Why are we analyzing and how are we applying that to the business? So the first one, you're analyzing it because you need to know, is your business growing? And let me tell you how you can tell if your business is actually growing. So I say growing because to me, Growing a business means that you have people coming back to you. You have people referring people to you. That is growing a business. Doing business is just finding leads. That's doing business, right? But I'm teaching you to grow a business. And I feel like that is one really big piece of the puzzle that is not taught. We're not taught to be like dentists and doctors and lawyers and right, where they will gather clients and become full at some point, where they don't need more clients because you have enough clients coming back to you and referring to you that you're full and you don't need new. Okay? That's growing a sustainable business. That's what we're trying to do. So when you analyze the data, if you're in your first year, great. You're probably not going to have as many referrals. You definitely probably won't have repeat business unless somebody gets divorced really fast, right? So you're not going to have much of that. But referrals are good to look at as well. See where your business is coming from, because you want to know where are you spending your money. If you are going to choose to do any advertising, where are those advertising dollars going? What is worth spending money on? So just like Zillow was for my client or for my agent, it really wasn't where she should have been putting all her money. She could have put her money in a better place to increase her business faster. So what's working? If you are advertising at one of the local schools, or you have a billboard up, or you've got, you do mailers, or you do door hangers, or you do like whatever it is that you're doing, or your open house, you're killing it at open houses, then keep killing it at open houses, because that's what you're good at. That's where you're getting business from, right? So it's a really quick, easy way for you to assess self-assessment, right? And assess yourself and go, what am I good at? Which area am I good at? And double down your efforts. That's the third part. You're going to double down your efforts wherever it was that you were doing good. Because if that part you're doing well at, you can exponentially increase it if you put more effort toward it. Problem is, if we don't know where our business is coming from, how do we double down our efforts? How do we know where to spend money instead of just throwing money out the window different ways? Right? So it is planning with a purpose. Essentially, it's planning our business with a purpose. When we know the data, when we know what we're working with. So an easy way to keep all this together, I would suggest, is I stick all my clients in a spreadsheet. Maybe I'm old school. We still have a CRM, which is great, but that CRM goes down or that company goes belly up or something, your data's gone. So I keep a separate Excel spreadsheet with my client's information, and you can put the source in there, because then it's very easy for you to go through and hit sort on the source every quarter. Hit sort on the source and see how many you're getting of each, right? Where it's at. So a quick, what I would suggest is a quick thumb through once a quarter, a thumb through your book to see, okay, where's my business coming from, right? And you can kind of see that very easily. And then every 6 months at least, I hop in and sort your spreadsheet to see exactly the numbers that you've got going on. So right now, if you guys have not done this yet, that's your homework. Even if you've had 5 clients, I don't care how many you've had. And it doesn't have to be people that have closed. They don't have to be closed. If they still came to you, if you received a phone call, if somebody referred them to you, if you found them on the street, I don't care. If you found them in Home Depot parking lot. That's why we know the tags on our cars work, because we track it. And so we know that we get phone calls and how many phone calls we get. We kind of average it as a brokerage as well, but still, every single one of us has received a phone call off of our stickers off of our cars. And it's brought us business, and it's free. Well, cost me a few $100 once, right? Good advertising. So we know that that works. Now, if we had stickers on our cars and we never received any business from it, we never had comments on it, then we would know it wasn't worth doing. And we'd probably take them off so we could drive a little more crazy or stop getting flipped off sometimes, right? So that will help you to figure out where to put your time and effort into. It really will, okay? And you'll be surprised as you go along during the year, you'll be surprised at where your business actually does come from sometimes. And it's not always going to be in the way that you think. But it always starts with the habit at the very beginning. You have got to get in a habit of asking the client how they found you. So unless it was at an open house and you're sitting there talking to them at the open house, write that down, by the way, right? If you snag them as a client, write that down. But every other person you have got to ask, and don't feel awkward asking. It's not a weird question. I know that some people get to a point where they're like, I don't want to ask them. You know, it's good. It's just awkward. It's just weird. It's not awkward. You're asking how they found you. That's it. And that's how I'll say a lot of times too. Just how'd you find me? I'm happy to help you. How'd you end up finding me? Great. And if someone did refer them to you, I've got one past client that's probably referred 5 or 6 people to me. Every member of her family, I swear, and friend that they work with. And so I will send her gift cards every now and then and thank yous for trusting me with her friends and trusting me with her family. So that's an important thing too. If it was someone specific, you want to pay your thank you to them. So whether it's just a quick text or a phone call or a card with a $10 Starbucks gift card or whatever in it, make sure that you are showing your appreciation for people that are recommending you. That's really important too. So that makes them, it just kind of gives them, a little happy feeling, and then they'll want to continue to do it. Just bolsters them up a little bit to know that you're just not greedy and taking the business and running, and instead of saying thank you. So, so simple, right? But so important. So important. So start the habit while you're newer. Do we have any questions, comments, stresses? Okay, Colleen?
I want to ask you about how do you move from one binder, I don't know, your notebook. How do you move from one to the next? Because or do you like transfer people who are in limbo?
So I do. Okay, so here's my goal. So this is the way that I think of it, okay? My goal is, if I've got them written down in this 6-month book, by golly, I want to get them done, right? I don't want to keep gathering people forever in the book and not have them make progress. So I do, when I finish up this 6-month book, I will go through and transfer anyone that needs to be transferred into the new book. Now, sometimes you're going to get people who are not active. Okay, I'm going to transfer the active people, but I've got people that I'll write down that don't end up doing anything, or I put them on a search and they're going to sit there forever. There's no real reason to have to carry them around in your hand every day, right? Because they're not like right now people. So I actually don't end up transferring a lot. I do transfer my listings because, well, number one, my goal is also to try to get my listings sold before my book runs out for the 6 months, right? But the second thing is, I love having my listings with me, because if I'm driving, always driving in your car, right? Because we're driving in our car all the time, or we're busy, or I get sick of getting on my phone a lot of the time. If somebody calls and asks about one of my listings, it's real easy. I've got all the information here about my listing. So they're like, how many square feet is it? How many bedrooms is it? What year is it? Right? All that stuff. I can easily go in, just flip open my book, tell them all the information. I don't have to get in my app and, find the thing and whatever. So that's one of the reasons why I like having it this size too, to keep in my purse and my hands, whatever. That's why I do that. so I can have all that information at my fingertips. So any listings, active listings I transfer, or the potentials, anything coming up. And then any buyers that I need to keep their info right there on hand. Otherwise, if I've been working with them for 6 months and I know everything about them, I don't transfer them. They don't need to be transferred. So there's still a record, and I just keep it in my office so I can refer back to it. And what I found is I don't really have to refer back to it that often. Once I've transferred my listings, I don't think I even really opened my last one, because the buyers at that point, you've got them on a search, you've probably met with them a couple times, you know their name, their phone number's in your phone, so you already have an idea. One of the reasons why, I mean, for buyers, right? My habit is I'll kind of just flip through with my buyers just to make sure there's no one I need to check up with, touch base with, make sure I'm keeping up on everybody. So I'll kind of do a flip through and be like, okay, yeah, I talked to that person this week. I talked to that person this week. It's kind of like a to-do list for me without having to go write another to-do list, right? Because, oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many books and notebooks and crap that you write stuff in and then you don't know which one you wrote it in. So it becomes a to-do list where I'll go through and be like, okay, yep, that person's not selling yet or buying yet, or this person's doing this, or this person ghosted me or whatever. And then I can just make sure I'm keeping up with all of my potential buyers that I've got. And then same thing with listings. When I've got them in there, I'll just kind of flip through. I will use it as a to-do list to check in every week with my sellers, let them know what's going on with their listing. If I haven't talked to them for the week because we haven't had any traffic, then I'll go through and do a check-in with them too. So yeah, does that help?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Because I have this other one that keeps sitting here and it floats around and I'm like, how am I going to keep, because I do have some people who have hung on longer than I thought, they were going to buy in May and now it might be next spring. So.
Yeah. And at that point you have them on a search, right? You have them on a search, you know their names, you know their contact info. You could at that point too, use one of the sheets or go back in the notes, and you could just use a page in the notes to keep a tally of other people that you maybe have on searches that you need to just remember their names, right? If you need a little to-do list, write that in one of the note pages.
That makes sense too, because I don't want to forget about somebody who has dropped off a bit, but I should be checking in.
Yeah. You can keep it as a tally of buyers on there, buyers or sellers, or listings I like to keep in the listing section because the plan is to land that listing at some point, so I usually keep the listings all written down. So anybody else? Nobody. So quiet today, and everybody's in their pajamas, sitting at home. Actually, I was in my sweatpants yesterday and I was gonna take a picture just for fun, but I seriously, sweatpants, like a little, like a vest, my comfy shirt, and my slides. That's how I showed houses yesterday. Like, you know what? It was a total, I just could not bring myself to put normal pants on yesterday. I just couldn't. So it was a sweatpants day. Client loved me anyway, whatever. It is what it is. So, okay, guys. All right. Anybody else? Anybody have any transactional questions before we had a fast lesson today? So if anybody has any transactional questions or anything that you're struggling with, you can definitely pipe up right now as well.
Can I ask another question? Just because I just got a text from somebody. So we are a backup offer. And it's looking really good for them now anyway, but she just got an email today from her credit card saying, we've just increased your credit line. And she screenshotted it and sent it to me and said, does this affect anything?
Oh.
Does that, because it's not, okay.
So the credit line, actually, that's not a bad thing, but the credit line isn't it can affect her credit score because then she has that much more potential to spend money, but she hasn't spent money, so it shouldn't change anything. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I know, it's really funny. They offered to increase one of my credit card limits. And I was like, no, don't increase my credit card limit. And I was like, well, that was stupid. I should have had them increase it, because then if you use it, it's easier to stay below that 25% usage. Because that's where it's best to stay is, so when you use a card, you use 25% of it, then you pay it off. Use 25%, you pay it off, right? You don't really want your balance up to like 50% of the limit. So the more they increase the limit, the easier it is to stay at that 25%. Otherwise, if you have $1,000 credit card, you got to stay under $250, which is, real easy to use. So anyway, yeah. So it's not as bad to have them increase it. Just don't go spending it. Tell her not to go shopping for new furniture yet. So, okay. Oh, I got lots of light on me today. All right. Anybody else? We hanging in there? Okay. All right. Have a good weekend, you guys. Oh, Sammy, are you, Cynthia, anybody?
Oh, no. I was just, I'm driving, so I'm always driving. Sorry, that's why I have it off.
What we do.
So, but good info today.
I wanted to say something, Lisa. I had a listing appointment on, what day was that? Tuesday. And I got the listing. This is my first listing, so I'm really excited. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
That's exciting. And where did you
I know
come from?
it is exciting.
It is exciting. And you feel good and you're ready to, you got the listing.
I mean, they've asked, I'm kind of tired today because they have asked, I was on a Google Meets call with them yesterday, and they've asked so many questions, but I was able to address their questions.
Awesome.
And so now they're looking at lenders, and they may do, there's just so many options for them that they're looking at, maybe a bridge loan. They're not really sure yet, but I can't wait till they kind of, pull all that information in and make a decision on what they want to do.
So what they want to do in regards to repurchasing?
Yes, because they want to sell and then purchase. Yeah.
Okay.
Repurchase.
Okay. Awesome. I'm going to give you guys a tip too. So that was amazing, Cynthia. You're doing great. So try not to let when somebody's a hot buyer seller, right? When they are thinking about it and they want to do something, try not to let too many days go by before you're checking in with them. Because so we had this conversation. My husband asked me last night, and he's like, okay, he talked to somebody yesterday morning, and he had, buyer, they wanted to purchase, they hadn't done any lending yet, so he gave them the contact information to be able to do the application. So it was like 8 o'clock at night. My husband said, so they haven't opened up the app, they haven't done the application yet. When should I, are they going to respond to me? Essentially, are they ghosting me? Are they not? And I said, no, they're not ghosting you. There's a lot of times when they're busy and it may take them a couple days to get to it, right? Or sometimes it's overwhelming. They think it's going to be harder than it really is. And so then they may wait a couple days to get to it. Okay. So a couple things that you can do to help with the encouragement part of things is, number one, when you're talking to them about doing the application, explain how easy it is. It's an easy, quick application. It'll take you maybe 10 or 15 minutes. Okay. Once they get the application done, they can then send in their documents, but they don't have to wait till they have all their documents together before they do the application. Just get that initial application done. Gets them moving, they can get their credit pulled, right? And then the documentation part of things, your tax returns, check stubs, and your bank statements, that's to verify the income. You still want that before you'll be issued an approval letter for sure, but at least you've got them in the system, credits pulled, you know what things look like, and then they can just verify the income. Okay. So just a little bit of encouragement about how easy it is. And then here's my trick. So I always will say, like, here's the link for the application, or here's the app to do the application, whatever avenue you're giving them to do the application, here it is. Let me know as soon as you've completed it. and I will let the lender know that they can get started doing your, working it up. Now, here's the trick part of it. Do I really need to know? Or do I already know. The lender knows when they do an application, it goes into their system and they get a notification. So they really know, okay? But it gives a sense of urgency, but it also gives them a reason to contact you back, and it gives you a reason to contact them back. It keeps you linked together. So if you just say, here's a link to the application, you've not given yourself a lead in to check back with them. Then it's the awkward. Then it's like, oh, then how do I call them back and be like, so did you do the application? Right? Because then what do you say? Awkward. Like that's weird. So if you from the get-go say, right, let me know when you've completed it, or if you have any questions, so I can let the lender know, even though we can see if they've done it, that gives us a reason to call back and say, oh, were you able to get the application done? Then it's not so awkward. Does that make sense? I mean, it's just the kind of those little things, but it's an excuse to be able to contact them back is what it is. It also gives them a little bit of a sense of urgency because someone's waiting on them. I'm waiting to hear from them. I'm waiting for them to do the application. Therefore, it's easier to get them to move forward and do it. If you just throw it in their court and run away, gosh, you probably won't hear back. Well, a lot of times you won't, especially if it's people who haven't ever done an application before. Sometimes they're just overwhelmed, or they'll start fishing. What they'll do is they'll start looking around for houses online and then call another realtor because they're going to call on another house. That's what happens. And then you lose them because they get picked up by somebody else that's a little bit more aggressive. So it's just a natural way to have that conversation and an excuse to contact them. Then you've got that follow-up. Then when you follow up and if they haven't done it, it's kind of like my personal trainer, right? Have you done your workout? Right? She can full on see on the app if I've done my workout or not, but she still will contact me and say, well, have you done your workout? And that pushes me to get my workout done, right? It's just somebody else that you're reporting to, that you're responsible to. So it really helps to get that client to take action. And that's what we want. Faster, 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 faster. Just kidding. Okay, guys, well, have a really good weekend. I will see you next week. And as always, stick questions in the group if you have any questions. I've got, planners. Planners will be ready to ship beginning of November. So they are up on the website, theagentleaderplanner.com. They are up on there for pre-order, if you want to pre-order. And I did combine them. I am printing the first and second half of the year at the same time. So you can order them both at the same time if you want. First one's got a light gray on the back and the second one's yellow. Just for Colleen, it's yellow on the back. Just kidding. With a clear cover. So, and then I do have, don't laugh, I made stickers. So I don't know if you guys saw that I posted I don't even have it on me. Knowledge plus, oh my gosh, my brain. See how we don't remember things? Just a minute. Because I don't remember anything anymore. About water bottle stickers. I had her make them for me. Oops, stop it. Oh, yeah. The knowledge plus consistency. You probably can't see this on my phone, can you? Oh, there you go. So that's what the cover is going to look like. So we got a little bit of yellow and then it'll have a clear cover over the front of it. So white with just a little bit of pop.
I like it.
Like it?
Me too. I love them.
Yes.
There's a girl who I met at a conference a couple years ago, and she handwrites this. That's her handwriting.
No way.
She's so talented. She's so awesome. Anyway, so that's going to be what the cover looks like, with the clear over the top of it. So not like super flashy, gender neutral, all that good stuff. Anyway, so I took the same thing and made stickers. So they should be to me soon. So I'll put those up on the same site. So you guys can, if you want to add a sticker in, you can. But So that's what's up. And my buyer seller book, just for you people. All right, guys. Have a good weekend. Thanks for coming.
Let me know when you're in Scottsdale.
I will. 18th, 19th, 20th, and 21st.
Excellent. Okay. 19th, 20th,
Thank you,
21st.
Lisa.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Have a good week.